Hi everyone, myself Chitralekha. Today we are going to discuss the first chapter of our biology NCERT textbook, The Living World. So, The Living World. I hope you all are ready for this class. This is a very basic chapter. It means the concepts are really basic and the upcoming chapters will be the continuation of this chapter. It is one of the simplest chapter. One of the smallest chapter of our biology textbook. I hope you all are ready. Let's move on to this class, The Living World. So our NCERT textbook starts by introducing a scientist to us. His name is Ernst Mayr. So he is a very well-known scientist. So he was known as the Darwin of 20th century. He was known as the Darwin of 20th century. That's the first point. Then his studies were based on origin of species diversity and evolutionary biology. These are the 2 points that you should remember. He is known as the Darwin of 20th century and his studies were based on origin of species diversity and evolutionary biology. Just remember his name and these 2 points. That's it. Now, let's come to the topic, the living world. So, in this term, in the name of the chapter itself, there is a term, living. What is living? What is living? Let me ask you a question. Am I living? Am I living? Yes, I am living. I am interacting with you. You can see I am living. So, what about you? Are you living? Are you? Yes, you are also living. What about a plant in the garden, in your garden, or a plant in the roadside? Are they living? Yes? Yes, they are also living. So, all these organisms like me, you, the plants, your pet, everyone, all of these are living. What about this pen? Is this pen living? Is this pen living? No, this is not living. It's a non-living object. What about a stone in the roadside? Is that living? No, it is also not living. So, there are some features that makes some things living or some non-living. Some features that comes into your mind when I say some are living and some are non-living. So what I want you to note it down, those points that comes in your mind, some features that living organisms do possess. If you want, you can pause the video and note that features down. So I hope you have done that. Let me explain some features or introduce some features of living organisms. First one is growth. Growth is a feature of living organisms. Think about it. Do living organisms grow? Can living organisms grow? Yes? Yeah. We human beings can grow. So obviously living organisms can grow. And then reproduction. Living organism can reproduce. Is that right? Yes. Then self-replication. They have the ability to replicate. Then self-assemble. They can assemble themselves. Then ability to interact. Ability to interact. I am interacting with you. Currently I am interacting with you. So ability to interact. Then ability to sense environment. So these are some points some features that living organisms possess. So I want you to just note down these features and just remember them. Growth, reproduction, self-replicate, self-assemble, ability to interact and ability to sense environment. Is that clear? So just note this point down. We'll explain these points in detail. So let's move on to the first point, which is growth. It is said that growth is increase in mass or increase in number of individuals. So these are the twin characters of growth. That means if mass increased and if number of individuals increased, in both cases we can say something that organism have grown. Increase in mass or increase in number of individuals is called growth. So these 2 points are the twin character of growth. So increase in mass. So think about ourselves, we as human being. Before some 10 years ago, we were small, we were very small, our mass was very less, right? Now we have grown up. So increase in mass is growth and increase in number of individuals. That comes in the case of small unicellular organisms like bacteria. in case of bacteria, growth, they don't grow in size. Their size don't increase. They grow in number of individuals. Okay, bacterial growth means increase in number. So that is increase in number of individuals. So increase in mass or increase in number of individual is growth. So that is the twin character of growth. So this term is important, twin character. Okay, so let's see some examples. In case of plants, in case of animals, some examples. Okay, the first one is in plants. So in plants, growth is throughout their life. Growth is throughout their life. That means it never stops. It's not limited. Growth is not limited. Until their death, they will continue to grow. So growth is throughout their life in case of plants. In case of animals, growth is up to an age. After a certain age, we won't grow, right? So in case of plants, growth is throughout their life. In case of animals, it is up to an age. And in case of cells, cells means cells of us, like organisms. Growth is replacement. Cells get replaced during growth. Okay. And in unicellular organisms, growth is cell division. Just like I said, one cell give rise to two cells or two or more cells. That is growth. So in case of unicellular organisms, growth is cell division. And there is a point, growth and reproduction are same in case of unicellular organism. Think about it. They give rise to more individuals. From one organism giving rise to more individuals. That is growth in case of unicellular organism, and that is reproduction. Okay. So in unicellular organisms, growth is cell division and growth and reproduction are same. Okay. Is that clear? Okay. So there is a case where we say mountains and sand mounds do grow. What does that mean? Mountains and sand mounds, they are non-living things, right? But they can grow. Their mass can increase. Think about this. This is a sand mound. Okay. So if some more sand is added to it, its mass increases. Isn't it right? So in case of sand mounds, their mass can increase. So we can say this is a type of growth. So mountains and sand mounds do grow. Even though they are non-living, they can grow. That's a case. So it is a surface growth. Yes. So in case of organisms, living organisms like us, the growth happens from inside. But in case of non-living organisms, surface growth can occur. Okay. So mountains and sand mounds do grow even though it is a surface growth. Okay. So non-living organisms can grow. It is a surface growth, but still it can grow. So growth is a character of living organism. It doesn't define living. That means here growth becomes a character. Because non-living organisms also can grow, growth becomes a character of living organism. It is not a feature of define. That means feature of living. It is not a defining feature of living. That means every living organism can grow. Okay, that's fine. But everything that can grow is not living. It's not necessary that it is living organism. Okay. So that was the point. Once again, growth is the increase in mass or increasing number of individuals. That is called growth. It is called as a twin character of growth. Then we saw some examples. In case of plants, it is throughout their life. For animals, it is up to a certain age. For cells, it is by replacement. And for unicellular organisms, it is by cell division. And in their case, growth and reproduction are same. Okay, then we saw that non-living organisms also can grow, even though it is a surface growth. For example, mountains and sand mounds can grow. And then we said growth is a character of living organism. It is not a defining feature of living organism. Okay, this point is important. Okay, so let's see next feature. Next feature is reproduction. Okay, reproduction. Okay, reproduction. What is reproduction? Reproduction is the process of formation of progeny or process of production of progeny. Yes, process of producing progeny. It is reproduction. It is a character of living organisms. Yes, living organisms can reproduce. That's right. We humans can reproduce. So living organisms can reproduce, and it is the process of production of progeny or offsprings. Yes, progeny or offsprings. And it can occur by two methods. It can be either either sexual or asexual. There is two types of reproduction. There is sexual reproduction and there is asexual reproduction. So once again, reproduction is the process of production of progeny. It can be sexual or asexual, and it is a character of living organisms. Yes. So let's see some examples. So in case of fungi, fungi reproduce by a particular structure called spores. Okay. Then planaria. Planaria reproduce by regeneration. What is regeneration? It can regenerate its body. For example, consider a planaria. Consider this is a planaria. If we cut a planaria into two, we will get two planaria. Okay, we will get two planaria. It can regenerate itself. Okay, it's an organism. Planaria is an organism. It can regenerate itself. Okay, so in case of fungi, it is by a specified special structures called spores. In case of planaria, it is by regeneration. Okay, and in yeast and hydra, it is by budding. Budding is a process by which a bud is formed from a parent. So I'll show you. Okay, yeah, this is planaria. Okay, and this is budding. It's budding in case of hydra. A small bud is developed from the parent. The bud will grow and then mature, and then it will detach from the parent and grow into a new organism. Okay, new individual. Okay, so small bud is formed from the parent, then this bud develops and matures, then it gets detached from its parent and develop into a new individual. Okay, yes. So in case of yeast and hydra, once again it is by budding. Okay, then in case of mosses, it is by a structure called protonema. What is mosses? What is protonema? You will study in the upcoming chapters. Okay, so just remember these terms. In mosses, it is by protonema. So once again, the examples. In case of fungi, it is by a special structures called as spores. In case of planaria, it is by regeneration. For yeast and hydra, it is budding, and then for mosses, it is by protonema. Okay, is that clear? Yes. In unicellular organisms, growth and reproduction are same. Yes. Unicellular organisms, growth and reproduction are same because both are the increase in number of individuals. Yeah, okay. There are organisms that are living but cannot reproduce. So this is an exception. What is it? There are organisms that are living but cannot reproduce. For example, mules and sterile worker bees and infertile human couples. So organisms like mules, sterile worker bees, and there are infertile human couples. So they are living but they cannot reproduce. So there is an exception. Hence hence reproduction is also a feature of living or a character of living organism. It does not define living. Okay. So that's a point, you should remember it. Reproduction, just like growth, reproduction is also a character of living organism. It does not define living. Okay. Okay, you should remember that point. Note it down. So there is an exception, one more, not exception, there is a point. No non-living organism can reproduce. Yes, non-living organisms cannot reproduce. They cannot reproduce themselves. So non-living organism can reproduce. Only living organism can reproduce. But there are some living organisms who cannot do reproduction. So reproduction is just a character of living organism. It does not define living. Okay. Yes. So our second part is finished. Then metabolism. What is metabolism? Metabolism is the chemical process of converting food into energy. So we have food to get energy. So metabolism is the process by which the food is converted to energy. Okay. So, or it is the sum total of all chemical reaction that occurs in our body. There is number of chemical reaction that happens in our body. So, metabolism is the sum total of all chemical reaction that happens that takes place in our body, or it is the process of converting food into energy. So, food is converted into energy. So, this process is called metabolism. Okay, or it is the sum total of all chemical reactions that takes place in our body. Okay. All living organisms do metabolism. So every living organism can do metabolism. Every living organism need energy for living. So they do metabolism. Okay. No non-living things cannot do metabolism. Yes. So living organisms can do metabolism. Non-living organisms can't do metabolism. Chemical reactions can be done outside the body. Yes, this is a point. we said metabolism is the sum total of all chemical reactions that happens in our body. But we can do these chemical reactions in an laboratory, in an in vitro condition. We can do these chemical reactions. But still metabolism is a defining feature of living. Okay. So yes, defining feature of living things. Metabolism is a character and it is a defining feature of living organisms. So every living organism can do metabolism and everything that can do metabolism is living. So that is what defining feature means. Okay. Once again, what is metabolism? It is a chemical process of converting food into energy, or it is the sum total of all chemical reaction that takes place in our body. Every living organism can do metabolism and no non-living organism can do metabolism. So, metabolism is a defining feature of living. So, once again metabolism is a defining feature of living. Okay, is that clear? Yes. So, which is the next feature? It is cellular organization of body. What is cellular organization? When you know our body is made up of cells. Cells are the building blocks of our body. Our body is made up of cells. So, the cells organize themselves, forms our body. Okay, so body of a living organism is formed of cells. Every living organism, in case of every living organism, their body is made up of cell. The basic unit of their body is cell. Whether it is unicellular or multicellular, their body is made up of cells. Okay, so cellular organization of body is a defining property of living organism. Once again, body of a living organism is formed of cells. Cells, and it is for every living organism their body is made up of cells. Okay, so it is a defining feature of living. Okay, so we got our second defining feature. Okay, then next is consciousness. What is consciousness? You know, humans are the only self-conscious social animals. Okay, yes, consciousness is the ability to be conscious about your environment, about your surrounding. For example, I can interact with you. I am conscious about my environment. I am conscious about my surrounding. So yes, living organisms have the ability to respond to their environment. When we are conscious about our environment, we can respond accordingly. Okay, so living organisms have the ability to respond to their environment. Plants respond to abiotic stress. In case of plants, they respond to abiotic stress. What is abiotic stress? Abiotic stress, yes, you know, water ability, sun ability of water availability of sunlight, all this comes under abiotic stresses. So, plants respond to abiotic stress, right? Example, photoperiod. What is photoperiod? Photo means light, period means time. So, the time, for how much time sunlight is available. According to that, plants will respond. So, that is photoperiod. So, plants respond to abiotic stresses. Then humans are the only self-conscious organism. I have already said that. So, once again, living organisms have the ability to interact, to respond to their environment. They are conscious about themselves, living organisms, and plants respond to abiotic stresses. Example, photoperiod. So, all living organisms are conscious. So, yes, a person in coma, this is an exception, okay. A person in coma is living but don't show any response. Yeah, that is an exception, but still that's okay. A person in coma, you know, a person who's brain dead or a person in coma, they are not conscious about their environment and their surrounding. They are not going to show any response, but still they are living, okay. So, a person in coma is living but won't show any response. So, consciousness is also a defining property. Yes, consciousness is also a defining property of living. So, once again, which were the defining properties? Defining properties? First one is metabolism. Metabolism, which is the sum total of all chemical reaction where food is converted into energy. That is our first defining property. Then comes cellular organization. Every body of living organisms are made up of cells. Then consciousness, okay, that we can respond to our environment. So, these are the three defining features of living. I hope that's clear. So, let's go into the conclusion of our question was, what is living? We were explaining the features of a living organism, okay. So what is living? Now let's conclude. Living organisms are self-replicating, those who can replicate themselves, yes, self-replicating, evolving, they can evolve with time, they can change, they can undergo change, self-regulating, they can regulate themselves, yes, interactive systems, they can interact. So living organisms are self-replicating, evolving and self-regulating interactive systems capable of responding to external stimuli. So once again, living organisms are self-replicating, evolving and self-regulating interactive systems capable of responding to external stimuli. Responding to external stimuli. Okay, is that clear? Once again, just recap everything. So first we talked about a scientist, Ernst Mayr. Who was he? He was known as the Darwin of 20th century, and his studies were based on origin of species diversity and evolutionary biology. Yes. Then we talked about some features in random features of living. I asked you to note it down. I hope it's clear. Then we explained those features. First one, we explained growth, reproduction, metabolism, cellular organization and consciousness, in which metabolism, cellular organization and consciousness were the properties or defining features of living organisms. Okay, I hope this portion is clear. Okay, let's move on to the next portion. Okay, so we have already discussed the first portion, the living organism, what is living, the features of living organisms, the features that makes an organism living, that means the defining features of living organisms. So I hope that's clear. So we'll move on to our next portion. So yes, so our first topic is biodiversity. What is biodiversity? Biodiversity. Yes, biodiversity is the number and types of organism present in earth, present on earth. Okay, what is biodiversity? Number and types of organisms. There is a number of organisms present in earth, a number of organisms, and there is a number of types of organisms, different types of organisms, okay, different species of organisms. So number and types of organism present in earth is biodiversity. Okay, diverse. Okay, number and types of number and many types of organisms are present in earth. So that is biodiversity. There is about 1.7 to 1.8 million organisms. Okay, 1.7 to 1.8 million species. So this number is very important. It is often asked. 1.7 to 1.8 million species, million types of organisms are present in earth. So once again, what is biodiversity? It is the number and types of organisms present in earth, and it is about 1.7 to 1.8 million species of organisms are present in earth. So is that clear? Yes. So next topic. Yes. That is taxonomy. So this is not a topic like, it's not like these points are included in your NCERT textbook. This I divided this chapter into such a flow chart for our learning convenience. Okay. So yes, in this portion we have about 4 topics to discuss. That is, first one is nomenclature. So what is nomenclature? We will discuss. In nomenclature, we will have to speak about 2 types of names, that is local name and scientific name. What is local name and what is scientific name? And there we have laws of scientific name, and then we have 2 codes, ICBN and IC7. We will discuss everything, we will discuss in detail. Okay. Then we will speak about identification. Then about classification. In classification, we have 2 terms. One is taxa, and then we have taxonomy. What is taxonomy? In detail, we discuss about taxonomy. And then systematics. What is systematics? So these are our topics of our second section. So let's move on to the first topic, that is nomenclature. So what is nomenclature? Nomenclature means naming. Okay, naming, giving name to an organism. So that is nomenclature. When we are saying about giving a name or nomenclature, we'll have to explain what is local name. Why we need a common name? So yes, why we need a common name for an organism? That is because local names exist. Okay, local names are the name of species in a particular area. In a particular area or in a locality, a species is called by a particular name. So that is its local name. So it varies from place to place. So in different places, a same organism will be called by different names. So that is local name. It can create confusion. Yes. So let me give you an example. For example, mango. You know mango? So mango is called as manga. In my locality, mango is called as manga. If I went to northern region, like North India, it will be called as aam. In Hindi, it's called as aam. So the names are different. So if I don't know this name aam, and so I'll be confused when I go to northern parts. I'll be confused. So this local name, it is a name of species in a particular area, and it varies from place to place, and it can create confusion. Yes, so these are the demerits of local names. So what is the demerits? It varies from place to place and it can create confusion. And what is local name? The name of an organism in a particular locality or a particular area. Okay. So there comes our scientific name. What is scientific name? Scientific name is a universally accepted name of an organism. Yes, it is a universally accepted name. That means in everywhere, wherever you go, scientific name of that particular organism will be same. This name won't change. So it is a universally accepted name. Okay. So scientific name, it is a universally accepted name. For example, Mangifera indica. Mangifera indica is a scientific name of mango tree. Okay, so this name won't change. Anywhere you go, scientific name won't change. So, okay. So, let's move in detail. What is scientific name? Each organism is given a single name which is same all over the world. So, it is a universally accepted name. It is same all over the world. Okay. It is provided by ICBN and ICZN. Okay. ICBN, International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. Okay, International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, and ICZN, International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. Okay, so this codes ICBN and ICZN provides scientific name. That means they have a set of rules. They has a set of rules which determines scientific names. So ICBN and ICZN, they are very important. ICBN and ICZN is very important. The full form is very important. International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. So nomenclature. So names of plants are given by ICBN. Okay. Name of plants are given by ICBN. Okay, plants. And names of animals is given by or provided by Zoological Nomenclature, which is ICZN. Okay, is that clear? ICBN and ICZN. No, what is scientific name? It is a name which is universally accepted, which is same all over the world, a single name. Okay, and it is provided by ICBN and ICZN. Okay. So, next, binomial nomenclature. This is an important topic. What is binomial nomenclature? Okay. Let's explain this term. Bi means two. Nomial means something like name. So, there is two name. Okay. So, scientific name has two components. So, that is binomial. Two part. A name with two part. So, that is binomial. So, scientific name has two component, that is a generic name and a specific epithet. Okay, so scientific name has two part. One part is a generic name and another part is a specific epithet. Okay, this type of naming is called binomial nomenclature. So giving two names, like one name, a single name with two parts, a generic name and a specific epithet. So that is binomial nomenclature. This is proposed by Carolus Linnaeus. So yeah, Carl Linnaeus or Carolus Linnaeus is the one who proposed binomial nomenclature. An example, Mangifera indica, a classic example, like there is two names, Mangifera and there is indica. So this is binomial nomenclature. Okay. So next is rules of nomenclature. This is very important topic. Okay. You will have to learn it. It's very important. It is rules of nomenclature. So while giving a name to an organism, there is some set of rules that should be followed. Okay, what are they? First one is biological names are generally in Latin Written in italics, they are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. Okay, once again, biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics. What is italics? A little bit slided, like writing, for example, this is italics writing. Okay, so they are generally in Latin term, and they are written in italics. They are Latinized. The term is Latinized or derived from Latin, irrespective of their origin. That is the first point. Whatever origin it is from, this term is Latinized or it is derived from Latin. Okay. So the keyword will be Latin, I think. Okay. So next point. The first word in biological name represents the genus, while the second component denotes the specific epithet. So the first part will be genus name. Second part will be specific epithet or species name. Okay. In biological name, there will be two parts. And the first part will be genus name and the second part will be specific epithet or species name. Okay. Okay. Both words in biological name, when handwritten, are separately underlined. Very important, or printed in italics to indicate their Latin origin. So when you are writing a biological name, you should separately underline each terms. For example, when I am writing Mangifera indica, when I am writing handwritten, when I am writing Mangifera indica, I will have to separately underline both terms. Okay, separately underlined. And if it is printed, you should print it in italics. So if it is printed, it should be printed in italics. Okay, okay. So last law is the first word denoting the genus starts with the capital letter and the second word or the specific epithet should start with a small letter. Okay, so the genus name is Mangifera. The first letter of Mangifera, which is M, should be a capital letter, and the second letter word, which is the specific epithet, should start with a small letter, that is indica, it is I. Okay, so Mangifera indica, the first letter of our genus name is starting with a capital letter and the first letter of our specific epithet or species name should start with a small letter. Okay, is this points clear? Once again, biological names are generally in Latin, they are written in italics, they are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. That is the first point. Second point, the name will have two parts, it is generic name and a specific epithet. And then both when the biological name, when it is handwritten, it should be separately underlined, and when it is printed, it should be printed in italics. Okay, and the last point, the first word denoting the genus name should start with a capital letter and the second word, which is the specific epithet, should start with a small letter. Okay, is this 4 points clear? Okay, it's very important topic. I hope it's clear. So let's move on to the next portion, which is what is identification. Identification is the process of describing an organism, recognizing its character, by recognizing its character. So when you see an organism, you can understand its characters. For example, when you are seeing an elephant, think I am asking you to explain an elephant, how an elephant looks. What will you say? You will say it's very large, it's black color, large, it has large ears and it has a trunk and 2 tusks. That's how you will explain. Okay. So this is how you describe an organism, by analyzing its characters, by recognizing its features. So that is identification. Process of describing an organism by recognizing its characters is known as identification. So now you know this organism by its name. Okay, so now when I say elephant, you can imagine an organism which is large, which have a trunk and 2 tusks. You know this organism by its name. So you can think about this organism. You can picturize this organism in your mind. So that is identification. Okay, recognizing an organism based on its characters. So yes, so that is identification. Now what is classification? Classification is a process of grouping. Okay, grouping or categorizing organisms, anything into convenient category based on observed characters. So based on the characters that you have observed, you are classifying you are grouping organisms, you are categorizing organisms. That is classification. For example, herbivores and carnivores. So you will classify flesh eating animals into carnivores and grazing animals into herbivores. So there you are grouping organisms based on the character. What is the character? That is, one is flesh eating and one is grazing organism. So grouping organism based on observable characters is called as what? Classification. Okay. Yes. So now we have a term taxa. What is taxa? Taxa is a scientific term for categories. So yeah, categories. We don't use the term category scientifically. We use taxa. So taxa is called categories. Scientifically we say taxa. We don't use categories. That's it. It's very simple. A scientific term for category is taxa. Okay. Is that clear? Okay. Next portion, which is taxonomy. Yes, taxonomy is the important portion. What is taxonomy? Process of classifying all living organisms into different taxa, that is different categories based on their characteristics. So classifying organisms into different taxa or different categories based on their characteristics. This process is taxonomy. Okay. The process of classifying all living organisms into different taxa based on their characteristics is called taxonomy. Yes. So basis of taxonomy. While doing taxonomy, when we say we are doing taxonomy, we will have to do characterization, we will have to do identification, we will have to do classification, and we will have to give name, that is nomenclature. So basis of taxonomy is characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature. Is that clear? Characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature. These are the basis of taxonomy. So while doing taxonomy, taxonomical classification, taxonomy, you will have to consider some features, that is external structure. We will have to consider the external structure of the organism. We will have to understand the internal structure. We will have to know the cell structure. We will have to know the ecological information. Okay, all this should be considered. While you are classifying an organism, you should understand its external structure, internal structure, cell structure and ecological importance or ecological informations. Okay. Is that clear? Once again, what is taxonomy? It is a process of characterization of organisms or it's a process of classification of organisms based on into different categories or taxa based on their characteristics. And basis of taxonomy is characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature, and then external structure, internal structure, cell structure and ecological informations are considered while doing taxonomical studies. Okay. Is that clear? Okay. So yes, next portion is systematics. What is systematics? Systematics is study of diversity. So it is a study of diversity plus evolutionary relationships among different organisms. So we are studying diversity plus we are also considering the evolutionary relationships. Okay, so when evolutionary relationships are also considered, we will call it systematics. So systematics is a study of diversity and evolutionary relationships among organisms. So it is called as systematics. And term derived from Latin word systema. This is important. So the term systematics, it was derived from the Latin word systema. Systema means systematic arrangement of organisms. Okay, it is derived from the Latin word systema. Systema means systematic arrangement of organisms. Okay, systematic arrangement of organisms. These are important. Okay, so the second portion is also completed. So what are the concepts we discussed once again? Yes. First we talked about nomenclature, which is the process of naming, in which we discussed local name, a name in a particular locality. Yes. Okay, then it create confusion, it vary from place to place. Then we discussed scientific name. Scientific name is a universally accepted single name. Okay, and then we said scientific name, binomial nomenclature, a name with two parts, a specific epithet and generic name, a generic name and a specific epithet. This was proposed by Carl Linnaeus. Okay. Then we talked about laws, Latin. The name should be derived from Latin. It should be written in italics, and irrespective of their origin, the term should be derived from Latin. That was the first point. Second point was it should have two components. It should have a generic name and a specific epithet. Then the rule was, when handwritten they should be separately underlined, and when printed it should be printed in italics. Okay. Last point was the first letter of the generic name should start with capital letter, and first letter of specific epithet should start with the small letter. We saw an example, Mangifera indica also. Okay. Then ICBN and ICZN. What is ICBN? International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, and ICZN, International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. Okay. Then we talked about identification, process of describing an organism based on its characters. Okay. Observable features. Okay. Then classification, in which we discussed taxa and taxonomy. Classification is process of grouping organisms based on its characteristics. Then taxa is the term used instead of categories. Okay. Then taxonomy. What is taxonomy? I hope it's clear. Then systematics. Here we consider evolutionary relationships also. Okay. Yes. So next part is taxonomic categories. Okay, taxonomic categories. Each category in taxonomic arrangement is called taxonomic categories. So there is an arrangement, there is a taxonomical arrangement. An organism is arranged in a particular taxonomical arrangement. So each category in a taxonomical arrangement is called as taxonomic categories. Okay, these categories form taxonomic hierarchy. So these categories together forms a hierarchy. So these are the taxonomic categories. So I'll explain these taxonomic categories. Okay, I will. Single category is called taxon. So in this there is number of taxonomic categories, in which each of them singly it is called as taxon. A single category is known as taxon. Lower the taxa, more similar characteristics of organism. Okay, let's see which are the taxonomic categories. So the largest taxonomic category is kingdom, then phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Once again, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, these are the taxonomic categories. So they forms a hierarchy where kingdom is the largest, and it stands in the largest position, and species is at the smallest level. Okay, so there is a hierarchy. So that is called as taxonomic hierarchy. Okay, and in which single category is called taxon. So here family is a taxon, species is a taxon, class is a taxon. So each of them is individually called as a taxon. So this taxon is a unit of classification. Okay, then lower the taxa, more similar characteristics of organism. So in species level, the organisms will be fundamentally similar. So the organisms will be fundamentally similar in the species level. In kingdom, the organisms will be very different from each other. So there will be a lot of differences between the organism, between the species. Okay, so that's it. Lower the taxa, more similar characteristics of organism. Okay, now we will discuss each of the taxonomic categories in detail. Each taxonomical categories in detail. So first one, we will start from the lowest, which is species. Species is the lowest taxonomical category. It is the lowest taxonomical category. Here, a group of individual organisms with fundamental similarity. Okay, the organisms which are present in this species level, they are fundamentally similar. Okay, their features are fundamentally similar. It is the lowest taxonomical category. What? Species. Okay. Okay. Then genus. Genus is the group of related species or closely related species. So number of species together forms a closely related species together forms a genus. Okay. Example, Panthera. So there is a genus called Panthera. The species are Panthera tigris and Panthera leo. Who is Panthera tigris? It is tiger. Okay. Scientific name of tiger is Panthera tigris. And Panthera leo. Panthera leo is the scientific name of lion. Okay. So both tiger and lion comes under the same genera, same genus, which is Panthera. Okay. So closely related species forms a genus. Group of closely related species forms a genus. Okay. Now family, group of related genera. So closely related genus forms a family. Okay. In plants it is formed by on the basis of vegetative and reproductive characters. So in case of plants, we consider vegetative and reproductive characters when we are grouping it into family. Okay. For example, Felidae. Felidae is an example for a family. So what is family? Family is a group of closely related genera or genus. And then order. Order is a group of closely related family. So closely related families together forms an order. Example, Carnivora. Flesh-eating organisms, flesh-eating animals. Flesh-eating animals are included in the order Carnivora. And then what is class? Class is a group of closely related orders. Okay, it's very simple. The definition is very easy. Closely related orders forms a class. Example, Mammalia. Okay, okay. Then next, phylum or division. Phylum or division is the group of closely related classes. Group of closely related classes forms a phylum or division. So there is two terms, phylum and division, which is in case of plants, we don't use the term phylum, we use division. In case of plants, we say division, we don't say phylum. Okay. So example, Chordata. Yes, Chordata is an example for a phylum. It is a phylum in which we humans are included. Then kingdom. Kingdom is a group of related phylums. Okay. Some related phylums together forms a kingdom. And highest category of hierarchy, yes, it is the highest category. The hierarchy, it is the highest. Kingdom is the highest position. Kingdom is in the highest position and species is in the lowest position. And example, Animalia and Plantae. There are two kingdoms, Animalia and Plantae. So once again, species, it is the lowest taxonomical category, group of individual organisms with fundamentally same features. Okay, fundamental similarity. Genus, group of closely related species. Family, group of closely related genus or genera. Order, group of closely related family. Class, group of closely related orders. And phylum or division, group of closely related classes. And kingdom, group of closely related phylums or divisions. So I hope the definitions are very easy, and yeah, it's easy. Okay, so it's important. Okay, there is a point. Lower the taxa, more similar is the characters of organisms. So lower the taxa, the characters of the organism will be more similar. So in kingdom level, the characters will be very dissimilar. Okay, there will be very less similarities between the organism. But in case of species, they are fundamentally similar. Every organisms are fundamentally similar. Okay, yes. So let's move on to the next portion. So this is a very important table. It's given in your textbook, in your NCERT textbook. So let's see. Okay, we are seeing, we are going to explain the classification of 4 organisms. First one is man, housefly, mango and wheat. Okay, so let's see. Man comes under kingdom Animalia. So kingdom is not given here. So remember, man comes under kingdom Animalia. Phylum Chordata. Class Mammalia. Order Primata. Family Hominidae. Genus Homo and its biological name is Homo sapiens. So its species is sapiens. Okay, once again, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Primata, family Hominidae, genus Homo and biological name Homo sapiens. Okay, next is housefly. Housefly comes under kingdom Animalia. Once again, kingdom Animalia. Note it down. Okay, phylum Arthropoda, class Insecta, order Diptera, family Muscidae or Muscidae. Okay, genus Musca and biological name is Musca domestica. So domestica is its species name. Once again, kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, class Insecta, order Diptera, family Muscidae, genus Musca and biological name Musca domestica. Okay, yes. Next is mango. Mango comes under the kingdom Plantae. It comes under the kingdom Plantae. So, kingdom Plantae, phylum, no, it's division, okay. In case of plants, we say division. We don't use the term phylum, we use the term division. So, yes, division, Angiosperma, class Dicotyledonnae, order Sapindales, family Anacardiaceae, genus Mangifera, and biological name Mangifera indica. I hope you are familiar with this term, okay. Once again, division Angiosperma, kingdom Plantae, division Angiosperma, class Dicotyledonnae, order Sapindales, family Anacardiaceae, genus Mangifera, and biological name Mangifera indica. Okay. So, next it is wheat. Wheat comes under the kingdom Plantae, okay. Phylum, sorry, division Angiosperma, once again Angiosperma, class Monocotyledonnae, order Poales, family Poaceae, genus Triticum, and biological name Triticum aestivum. Once again, biological name Triticum aestivum. Once again, kingdom Plantae, division Angiospermae, class Monocotyledonnae, order Poales, family Poaceae, genus Triticum, and biological name Triticum aestivum. So, its species name is aestivum. Okay, is that clear? So, in this table, biological name is very important. You should study. Biological name is very important. Everything. Homo sapiens, Musca domestica, Mangifera indica, Triticum aestivum. Very important. Then phylum, division. Here, kingdom, I think it's familiar, like animal, like here man and housefly comes under Animalia, and plants, wheat and mango comes under Plantae. Okay. Here division you will learn. All these divisions, you will be familiar with these terms in the upcoming chapters. Okay. So, you will be familiar with those terms. Then class also, you are going to hear Mammalia, Dicotyledonnae and Monocotyledonnae. All these classes you are going to be familiar. Insecta you won't be hearing, but it's simple, right? Insecta, housefly comes under class Insecta, so it's easy. Then this family and order you will have to learn it. You will have to study family and order. At least try to be familiar with those terms. Okay, better if you learn them. Then biological name, genus name. If you learn the biological name, if you are going to study the biological name, then you will be familiar with genus and species. So, you can get, you will get it. Okay. So, this table is important. Learn it, memorize it. Okay. Then next topic, this is our last topic of this chapter, that is taxonomic aids. Last topic. Okay. So, what is taxonomic aids? Collection of actual specimens of plants and animal species for taxonomic studies. So, for taxonomical studies, actual plant and animal specimens are collected. What is specimens? It may be the species, a part of species, anything. So, actual plants and animal specimens are collected. So, this collections of actual plant or animal specimen for biological study is called as taxonomic aids. Okay. The information gathered are also stored. So, the information we can get from these collected specimens, we will store them. And in some case, specimens are preserved. In some case, the specimens will be preserved for future studies. Okay. So, once again, what is taxonomic aids? Collection of actual specimens or of plants and animals for taxonomic studies. Okay. So, we are discussing 5 taxonomic aids. 5 taxonomic aids. They are herbarium, botanical gardens, museum, zoological parks and key. These are the 5 taxonomic aids we are going to discuss. Okay. First one is herbarium, botanical garden, museum, zoological parks and keys. Okay. Yes. So, let's move on to the first, which is herbarium. What is herbarium? Storehouse of collected plant specimens that are dried, pressed and preserved on sheets. Okay. So, here the plant species is taken, it is collected, it is dried, then it is pressed. So, it is the specimen is dried, it is kept under some newspaper or something like a paper, sheets, it is kept between sheets, and it is pressed, a weight is put over it, and then it is preserved on sheets. So, they are herbarium. I will show you image of a herbarium, I will show you at the end. It consists information about date and place of collection, location and botanical names, family, collector's name, etc. So all these informations will be given in a herbarium. So the date and place of collection, from where and when it was collected, and the local and botanical name of that species, and its family name, the collector's name. Okay, all these informations will be given in a herbarium, and it is a quick referral system. You can quickly refer the species. Okay, so what is herbarium? It is a storehouse of collected plant specimens that is dried, pressed and preserved on sheets. Okay, so let me show you herbarium. So yeah, this is a herbarium. This is a herbarium. You can see it is a, what is it? It's a hibiscus plant. Yes, it is hibiscus. So this is how it looks. Okay. Okay. So next is botanical garden. What is botanical garden? I think you people are familiar with botanical garden. You may have gone to botanical garden. Botanical garden are collection of living plants. So living plants are collected in botanical gardens. Living plants, they are collected and they are grown in botanical gardens. Okay, plants are grown for identification with their scientific names. So the scientific name of those plants will be labeled. So plants are grown for identification and their scientific names will be labeled. So that is botanical garden. Example Kew, K-E-W, Kew, England. Indian Botanical Garden in Howrah and National Botanical Research Institute in Lucknow. Kew, England, Indian Botanical Garden in Howrah, Gujarat, and National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow. These are the well-known botanical gardens given in your textbook. So they are important. Examples are very important. Okay. Then museum, collection of preserved plant and animal specimen. Okay. Preserved plant and animal specimens. Both plant and animal specimens will be preserved. Their collection is called museum. Okay. So preservation can be done in different methods. So first one is containers or jars. The jar will be taken, a preservative solution will be put in it, and in which our specimen is also kept. Okay. So in containers or jars in preservative solutions. Okay. And then in insect box by killing and pinning. So an insect will be taken, it will be killed and then pinned, and it will be set in a box. So in insect box, we call those insect box. I will show them. And by stuffing large animals and birds. Stuffing animals and birds. Stuffing means you will remove the internal parts and you will stuff it with some materials. Okay. So you can preserve the external structure. So by stuffing large animals and birds. And then a skeleton of animals. So the skeleton won't get decayed. Okay. So the skeletons are preserved. Okay. So once again, containers or jars in preservative solutions like formalin, and in insect box by killing and pinning, then by stuffing large animals and plants, and lastly by as a skeleton of animals. So let me show you the images. Okay, this is insect box. By killing and pinning, the organisms are killed, these butterflies, they are killed and they are pinned. So this is insect box. And then what is this? This is stuffed animals. Stuffed birds are stuffed. Okay, and this is skeleton of organisms. Okay, I hope this is clear. This is different types of taxonomical aids. This is herbarium and these are included in museum. Okay, so last portion, yes, zoological parks. What is zoological parks? Animals are kept and protected and kept in protected environment under care. So proper care is given to animals. They are kept in an environment and they are protected. Okay, animals are kept and protected in protected under care. Okay, they are kept in protected environment. Okay, we can learn their habit and their behavior. We can see that animal life. So we can learn their habit, about their behavior. Okay, and conditions similar to natural habitat is provided. So for these animals, we will provide conditions similar to natural habitat so that it can survive. Okay, so proper care can be taken. And yes, that is zoological parks. And next one is key. Taxonomical aid used to identify plants and animals based on similarities and dissimilarities. Important. So, taxonomical aids used to identify plants and animals based on similarities and dissimilarities. So, based on their similarities and dissimilarities, we are identifying plants and animals. So, that is key. So, there are some terms, which is, first one is couplet. What is a couplet? The contrasting character pair is called couplets. So, there are two characters like similarities and dissimilarities. This pair of this contrasting character, a pair of this contrasting character is called couplet. So, it is a pair. Okay. Contrasting character pair is couplet. Then lead. Lead is statement in a key. In a key, there will be a statement about that organism. That statement is called lead. Okay. Okay. There are some more. Flora. What is flora? Actual account of habitat and distribution of plants in a given area. So, it is an actual account of habitat and distribution of plants in a given area. So, in a given area there will be some plant. So, the habitat of that plant and how well it is distributed. So, an actual account is given about that. So, that is flora. And provide index to plant specimens in a locality. So, an index of plant specimens, a list of plant specimens in a locality is given in a flora. Okay. Then manuals. It provides information to identify name of species in an area. So, we can identify name of species in an area with the help of a manual. So, information about name of animals in an area is given. Name of identify name of species in an area. We can identify the name of species in an area with the help of a manual. Then monographs contain information on any one taxon. Any one taxon. Information about any one taxon is given in a monographs. Yes, it is mono, single, monograph. Information about any one taxon. Then last one is catalogs. What is catalogs? Includes list of all species in a locality. All species in a locality. List of every species in a locality is given in a catalog. So, there were 4 terms: flora, manuals, monographs and catalogs. So, once again, flora, account on habitat and distribution of plants in a given locality, an index of plant species in a locality. Then manuals, information for identifying name of a species in an area. Then monographs, information about one taxa. And last one was catalogs, all species in a locality. List of all species in a locality is catalogs. So, that is it. So, that is all. Thereby we are winding up our session. Chapter is completed. So, I hope you all understood this chapter completely. So, thank you.